Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very exciting episode of Let's Remember. I have been so ready for this ever since we did Ring of Red. This is Gundam Side Story 0079, Rise from the Ashes. It was released in 1997. It is on, what else, the Sega Dreamcast, because I am definitely a fangirl for the Dreamcast. It is probably one of my favorite pieces, if not my favorite piece of Gundam sort of media. And I don't want to talk too much about the anime stuff too much right now, but I will say that my two favorite UC Gundam animes, at least, are the 8th MS Team and 0080 War in the Pocket, because they stress the war as something that affects people, and I really enjoyed that. That was one of the reasons I liked Ring of Red as much. This game puts us inside the cockpit. It gives us a team to interact with for the entire game, all sorts of stuff going on. It's really great. I love it. It takes place in Australia, a theater of war not really talked about very often in the Gundam universe. And so I think that if you're a fan, you're going to like it. But even if you're not a fan of Gundam specifically, if you like action games and you want something that isn't as overboard as Steel Battalion, but still makes it feel like you're inside of a cockpit, you're going to like this. So let's continue. We're going to start from Stage 2. Stage 2, my favorite stage. It was also the stage that was released on the demo disc that I got from Dreamcast magazine when I first played this game. I wasn't a big anime fan at the time. I think I knew a little bit about Gundam. And then I played this game, and I just remember loving it so much that I got dragged into the rest of it. It's a nice, quick stage. We should only be playing for about 15 minutes, a little bit over. So let's do that. Let's go! Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm tripping over my words. Yeah, so let's get started. We're going to start off in a briefing room, and it sets a really nice tone. So sit back and enjoy a moment, and you should get an idea.
Good job on the last mission. The White Dingoes should be proud. Sorry, it's a little soon, but here's your next one. The White Dingoes will now commence entering the occupied city of Alice Springs as reconnaissance for the main Red Possum Force. You will then initiate attack on the enemy troops. When you do, your top priority will be to destroy the pillbox clusters in the hills to the north and south of the city, which are the biggest obstacles that the main force will face when entering there. Since this city is located in the central region of the continent, it was fortunately protected from the worst of the colony drop disaster, meaning there are many civilians still there. Take the utmost care and precaution while in the area so as not to endanger them. This especially applies to the water tanks, which are the lifelines for the city and the surrounding area. If they're destroyed, even if we manage to take the city from the Zeon, it'll make supporting it afterwards very difficult. Exercise extreme caution on this one. I wish you all the best of luck in this battle.
Captain, I have some intel for you. According to the information I got from the Wombat Resistance Group that we encountered on our last mission, Zeon transport trains will move through Alice Springs within the next few days. They don't have any details as of yet, but there's a distinct possibility.
Alright, so you get the idea. You get briefings from your superiors, and then you're able to talk to your teammates. They actually send you mail in between. I could listen to what Mike has to say, or what Lee has to say, and we could do that. I think Lee is concerned that this mission is sort of like a feint maneuver because there was something weird in the last one. Mike's a little more easygoing, that sort of dynamic. And then Anita is the crew member who works. She is our sonar worker, so she's always keeping an ear to the ground and keeping us appraised of what's happening in the field. So I really like that. I like that there's connections with all these characters. For instance, if I go into the garage, I will see my mechanic.
Hey there, Lieutenant Rhea. Well, what do you know? We're finally on our way. I guess the brass just doesn't understand how long it takes to do maintenance on these things while we're on the front lines. Well, as long as you leave it to me, I'd be sure to have it ready to go no matter how little time they...
All right, so I quit out of there. There's a little bit more talking. So it's really great. You have these characters that you're connecting with, that you have all this radio chatter in the field. It's awesome. And then you have the garage, where right now we don't have too much to choose from. We start off, we have our basic RGM-79 GM, the base unit that is used throughout the Federation. And then we also have the RGC-80, which is the gun cannon. So we have the base, and then we have the GM cannon. That's right, it's the GM cannon, because we get, for those of you who are Gundam fans, we get the RX-77D mass production gun cannon type later on, and then the last suit we get is an RGM-79 SP GM Sniper 2 for the last mission. It's really great. There's a special disc of this game. I don't really know the full details, but you actually can play as the RX-78-2 Gundam, like the Gundam, and it has a couple more weapons. It has the Gundam hammer and a bunch of cool stuff. But for now, we have basic units because we are just the White Dingo team out in the middle of Australia, out in one of the least desirable fronts to be fighting on. Zeon forces having a big foothold here. I want a rocket launcher, because who wouldn't? But I'm going to keep the shield small because it'll be useful for melee, but I'm going to make sure that my teammates have large shields. And I'm going to have them both be GM cannons so that they can do some mid-range to long-range support. And so that's that. Our mission is going to take us into Alice Springs, and so let's get going. You've been looking at this sort of stuff far too long. You want some mobile suit action, so let's go! I think you're going to really like this. I like the way that they handle things very well, even though the GameCube controller, not the GameCube controller, I always make that mistake. The Dreamcast controller is a very awkward controller. It has a D-pad and the analog stick on one side, so precise motion is a little awkward, but we're not trying to have a game where we're doing a lot of precise action anyway. The combat in this game is rough. It's sort of haphazard. You might shoot and miss. You might swing your beam sword and miss. You're going to see it in action. I'm going to hope that the sound mix will eventually be loud enough once the mission starts that you'll have those great Gundam sound effects, and I'll talk about it. The nice thing about this game, it feels very down-to-earth for as down-to-earth a game that has giant robot suits can be. You command your team around, you're inside the cockpit, you're on normal missions, you're not in invincible mobile suits, limbs can get blown off, all sorts of stuff. I'm really excited to show this off, so here we go. Mission is starting. So here we are inside of the cockpit.
This is Oasis. I'm proceeding as per
Radio
HQ
chatter,
plan, and I'm presently searching
all
for
sorts
the
of
enemy.
stuff.
Since I expect sound tracking will be hard in a city spread out like this, I'm going to hold my position here
So
for a bit.
Anita
Requesting
is going to do
assistance.
sonar searching, but what I can do is I can order my teammates around. There's another game called Mobile Suit Gundam Zeonic Front, which is for the PlayStation 2, which is where you take control of a Zeon mobile suit team, and you can organize them into blue, red, and gold teams, and do like a pre-mission planning phase, which is a little bit sort of like the planning phases that you might remember if you played it from the original Rainbow Six games. We're not quite getting to that level of detail, but we can still order our teammates around. So we're going to have Lee go in a pattern like this, right? We're just going to have him circle the center of the map. And actually, we are going to put him into long range so he can take advantage of that GM cannon's, it's cannon. And then what we'll do is we'll have Max sort of do an opposite route. We don't want to press too far into this area, but we do want to sort of have them fan out and hit other spots, and then they can sort of meet up vaguely in the middle. And he'll do middle range, which is okay. I don't like putting them in short range. It tends to get them killed. So just the perspective alone is so different than what you get in most Gundam games. This isn't Journey to Jaburo. This is not, Battles in Space. This is not Federation versus Zeon, where everything's sort of third person and everything. This is certainly not Dynasty Warriors Gundam. This is something far more, I don't want to say realistic, I'm struggling for a word here, but it is a game that is trying to treat what what's going on here with a certain amount of pseudo-realism to it, right? I'm moving here. There are these gun emplacements. I want to get in close, but it's like if I go up, it'll happen. Like, who knows if they'll fire? They're firing at my teammate. They're still pretty dangerous. They hit really hard. In the last mission, I had to fight against tanks, and the tanks...
This is Oasis. Have completed
the tanks did a good job of damaging me, even though they're just tanks. These are not invincible machines. I'm not the star of some anime. I'm just a girl in a mobile suit trying to blow up stuff. So here we go. Let's get that last pillbox. Oh, he knocked me out of the air. There we go.
What do you say we take out another one?
So we'll cut through the center of the city.
Units covering us by firing on pillboxes to the south.
And I think we're probably going to encounter an enemy on our way there. We don't want to have too much collateral damage, so we want to be careful. Right, but I can afford to run over a fence or a couple things. Yeah, there's definitely some action going on in the center of the city. So I hear the firing rather. So where are they? There's the enemy. So there's Suzaku. Pull out the beam saber, rush on in, knock them over from behind, and just start swiping. And then actually I can jump back. Maybe put some distance between them and me. Good dodge by them. And then when they get taken out, you want to be careful so that you don't get caught up in the explosion. Definitely some collateral damage, but we'll sort of deal with it. I hear more firing, and I wish I knew where it was coming from. I know my teammate's here. So let's take out this last pillbox emplacement. We have air support, which is fantastic. I'm so glad they're there. Oh, overheated the engine. There's a New Game Plus where you can use a lot of cool weapons. You get access to beam rifles and things like that. Prototype beam rifle for one mission in the campaign. Got to be careful of my teammates or the aerial units so that they don't hit me. I was a little danger close there, right?
A train's coming this way.
Train coming in, so we have to respond to that. What I can do is zoom in, and we'll take care of it from long distance. So how about we fire like that?
I confirm.
Yep.
Train is immobilized.
Train's down.
Lieutenant Rare, I'm getting a message from the enemy.
Incoming transmission from the enemy.
This is Lieutenant J.G. Vish Donahue, Zeon Forces Commandant for this city. Vish. The guy they call Wild Thunder? I have a proposal for the Federation officer in charge. We have no desire to fight a hopeless battle any longer. As I'm sure you know, there are many civilians living here in the Alice Springs metropolitan area. From our point of view, fighting a battle here would be a tragedy that would undoubtedly benefit neither side. We hope you can see our position.
Alright, so they want to withdraw. And so I have an option here, which is kind of interesting. The game reacts to certain things that happens in the field. An example of this is there's a mission. I said that you got to use a prototype beam cannon. You get to use that because you have to shoot down a flying sort of special enemy weapon. And if you fail to shoot down the engines, the weapon can get away, and that sort of affects the story. Here, it's a smaller choice, but the choice is between engaging the enemy or letting them go away. And it's not something where I choose a dialogue prompt or anything like that. It's chosen right whether or not I pull the trigger or not. So what I want to do is move forward, and I see that he still has another Zaku with him, so I'm going to send in my teammates to help me. So let's get all set up. Fang 3. Going to attack there. Fang 2. At long range, which will leave room for me and the big bad guy to fight. So I'm actually going to try and do this. So here we go. This is exciting. I love getting into duels like this in this game.
Fang 3, roger that.
Fang 1, open fire! Battlefield's hot again! Fang 2, Fang 3, you must resume attack immediately! Fang 1, don't get so far ahead of us!
I attack them from behind, I get in some good hits. I want to be careful if he's going to attack from the front or not. I got teammates coming in to give me an edge, though. So here we go, and bang. Bang. Okay, so he got me. There we go, crossing blades. Son of a bitch. But I'm going to get some backup in a minute right here. So I think we're going to get him. I stop locking on because if I'm too close when I'm locked on, I will not be able to use my other weapons. So he's locking me into a pretty harsh loop right here because he has some weapons that I don't. So here we go. Oh, he dodged. Got him.
Enemy mobile suit destroyed. Way to go, Lieutenant.
All right. There we go. That wasn't too bad, was it?
Lieutenant.
Fantastic. So that's that. This is the end of the mission. And so we didn't kill the enemy ace. He ends up showing up for a lot of the game. You get to fight him in the last mission, which has a lot of high stakes. It's a cool duel. He's in a, I think if anybody's familiar with Gundam, he's not in a Dom. I think he's in a Gelug, which I think is how you pronounce it, but they're still pretty tough. There's all sorts of cool mobile suits here. If you're a fan of UC Gundam, this is definitely a game to try and find and get your hands on. If you just like the idea of being in a giant mobile suit, that's another thing to consider as well. So, Mobile Suit Gundam, Side Story 0079, Rise from the Ashes. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I love you all very much. Bye.